Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. This video is featuring the new My Monthly Hero Hero Arts kit from November, and it's a good one, y'all. It's got so many dies in it. Like, you could build endless amounts of tags with this. So I'm actually going to be doing a tag and a card set, and then I'm also going to be doing a card with a tag you can kind of give as a gift. So here I just wanted to show you how I chose to do this. I cut them apart but not entirely. I cut them into bigger kind of like chunks of dies, and then I ran them through that way because I wasn't really sure how I wanted to build my scene yet. And then I cut a couple of dies with the actual die tag. I just kind of put all my pieces parts in this little cup to hold on to them, like the smaller pieces, while I was figuring out what exactly I was going to do. But I always choose typically to cut them, like my die cuts, out of white, so that way I can decide if I'm going to ink blend them or Copa color them or whatever, because I like to add more dimension. But you certainly could cut them out of colored cardstock and then add a little bit of ink blending to them as well, so that way you could, get just a little bit of dimension that way. So once I have them all out, I'm kind of move on to the ink blending, which is how I added the majority of the color to my dies. So here's what I've come up with. On the right is the card and the matching die. On the left is the matching die and matching tag. Kelly, what? Anywho, so, and then on the left hand side is the tag that we will be making into a card, but also giving as a gift. So originally I cut everything out of white. I told you that. I decided that I would like them better in navy. So I used our nautical cardstock, the Hero Arts nautical cardstock, to cut that out. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of ink blending because, let's be honest, I can't leave anything alone. So this is sped up a little bit. I use the nautical on nautical, tone on tone, truly. And then I also use the pitch black. And then for the full piece of cardstock that doesn't have the tag cut out of it, I am going to use a stencil. That snowflake stencil you kind of saw very briefly. So if you're not familiar with the Hero Arts kits, this one is it's a really good one. But they are a limited time offer if you are not a subscriber. If you subscribe, then you are guaranteed to get one. But if you're not a subscriber, once they're sold out, they're sold out. So if you're interested in it, I would head over and pick it up. It's $34.99, and obviously these dies are worth way more than that. And that's not even all you get in the kit. You get the little sentiment stamp set that fits perfectly, and then you get some paper, I think some acetate, some ribbon. I feel like I'm missing something, but anyway, there's a picture of the whole kit on my blog, where the blog hop is. Not just on my blog, on many designers' blogs. Here, if you've watched my channel before, you know I like to use repositionable adhesive on the back of my stencils so I don't have to tape them down. So Tombow multi-glue is repositionable. I just put that on the back. I tap it with my hands, make sure it's completely dry, and then put it down before doing my snowflakes. Again, using the same, this is the nautical, and then I will use the pitch black as well. This is a very subtle pattern. Very, very subtle, but it's like enough oomph to add interest. My glue always leaves stickies behind the first time I put it on the back of my stencil. I just go in there with an adhesive eraser and clean it up. I'm going to line this back up and then do the same thing with the, what is that? The pitch black. That's what it's called. That's what I was saying. So yeah, the blog hop. Giveaways, there's giveaways. I think they're giving away a $50 gift card to one of the commenters along the hop. So that will be linked below if you want to head over there and hop along for your chances to win. And then of course there's, a multitude of other designers who are all very uniquely talented and using this same kit. So now that we've gotten the housekeeping portion of it out of the way, here, so I told you before, I do like to die cut them all out in white just so I can kind of decide how I want to color them myself. This time around, I went with just strictly ink blending for the most part. I used this spicy mustard, such a fun name, but it's a really pretty golden yellow, and I'm going to use that for my stars and like my little are they starbursts? Shooting stars? Not sure. Pretty. That's what they are. I'll call them that. Those pretty stars. So I use that for that. And then I am going to add a little bit of more dimension. This is, again, you could just cut this out of colored cardstock, and they because Hero Art's color inks all matched their papers. I could have just cut this out of the spicy mustard colored cardstock and then added some more shading, and that probably would have been a little bit easier, but I wasn't really sure what my game plan was going in. And so I mean, I did what I did, and it turned out fine, and I was happy with the way that they looked. It was maybe just a smidge more work because I did the ink blending to get my base color. So you guys know I'm going to give you the update on the party. But before we get into that, several of you have asked me about Molly, and I thought that I did an update, and apparently I did not. So I apologize for that. She is doing wonderful. She is great. She is walking now without a limp. Her Freedom Day after the surgery, so she had her surgery on August 1st, and then she had to be immobile, quote unquote immobile, for 8 weeks. And so when she hit her little Freedom Day, it was like Nathan was like, I want to be the first person to let her out. And so I went out in the yard, and then so I could like videotape it because I thought she'd just be like wild and crazy. That she didn't even notice that she wasn't on a leash. Like, she just came out and peed and walked around and hung out. Like, she didn't even notice she wasn't on a leash. But I was excited for her, and I was also excited for me because I didn't have to go out there and walk her around on her leash anymore. So she's been doing really good. She doesn't limp at all. So surgery was totally worth that. She has been having a little bit of an issue, and I don't think it has anything to do with her leg. I think it just has something to do with her getting older. She's having a little bit of an issue where she's kind of slipping on our hardwood floors, and now she's kind of frightened is like to walk on them. So I have like random rugs all over my house, and she just kind of walks from one rug to the other. Or when she goes downstairs, our stairs are carpeted, so she comes off the stairs right into the rug in front of the door, and then she'll go from that rug to the carpeted front room, and then she'll go through the baby gate to come into like the family room. So you can tell it's clearly something she's thinking about. Let's go back to the card. So I put down a layer of kiwi for my light green, and then I'm adding shading with pine. I don't think I really showed you that lid very well. And then for the flowers, I will be using cherry ink. So, and you can use whatever you have. Like, whatever ink you like to blend with would totally work for this. These are just the ones that I have that are for these brushes, and I wanted to use the brushes because they're the smaller detailed brushes. So for the most part I used small. I did have a few where I used like a medium, but I really stuck to the smaller ones to add the color to. And you can see here I used just some masking tape to hold them in place so that I wouldn't have to chase them all over while I was trying to ink blend them. This is a double-edged sword because the tape sticking to my fingers kind of got on my nerves after a little while, but I also understand that I'm a person who doesn't like the finicky bits, and so that's really no big surprise. For the wreath, I used caramel, and then I added shading with espresso. But yeah, so my sister had made the comment that maybe I should get her a pair of little skitty socks that have like the no slip socks on them. And Molly's real weird about her feet. We had I think I've shared this guy with you guys before. We had a situation where her toenails got cut a little bit too short at one of the groomers that we took her to, and then she got upset about it and was a little bit snappy, and then they tried to muzzle her, and then the whole thing was like super traumatic, and now she doesn't like anybody to touch her feet. She doesn't get snappy with us. She doesn't get snappy with me at all if I touch her feet. She'll try to pull them away from me. But she just really doesn't like it. So I'm not sure how she would do with the socks. Maybe once she got used to them, it might be okay. So I'm not sure, outside of just buying more rugs, how to get around that. But I'll have to figure out something for her. But otherwise, she's doing extremely well. I would like to ask you guys, if you are the praying type, as you know that I am, if you could just send up some prayers for my sister. Her dog passed away today. And, you know, we all have that dog who's like, that's my dog. And for me, that's Molly. You know, not that I didn't have dogs growing up. I did, that I was just devastated when I lost them. But when Molly goes, I will be destroyed. Like, next level. It will be, don't come looking for me. I will not be functional. And for my sister, that was Mika. That's her dog that just passed away. And so obviously her and her husband are very upset. And it's still very new and very raw. And she's kind of dealing with her, you know, the first part of the grieving process. So if you could just keep her in your prayers, I would appreciate that. I've been thinking about them all day. And, you know, my girls definitely got some extra pets and snugs and treats and loves this morning. You know, because it's so hard. They're family. It's so hard to lose them. So there, what you saw me do was I just added a little bit of shading to my snowman and my snow mound with the passion flower. And then for this, I did use my Copic markers, just because it was easier, quite frankly, to color in his top hat, and his little stick arms. And then I think you saw me probably do it for the center of the flowers. Because I love the shine, love the shimmer and shine. I am going to be using some of this Hero wax. And this dries pretty quickly, and it dries hard, but still flexible. And I'm using that to add some shine to my sticks. This comes in a couple of different colors. I'm just partial to the gold. And then I'm also going to add that to my stars as well, including the star on top of my little Christmas tree. So I just apply it with my finger. I tapped off the excess in the cap. A little bit goes a long way with this. So I'm just kind of swiping it on there, tapping it on there until I'm happy with the amount of shine that I had. I didn't want to completely cover up all of the shading that I did, but I wanted there to be enough on there that it would be, interesting. You would notice the shine. So, so today's been kind of a rough day. Feel bad for them. Really, really terrible. So the party for Kaitlyn went really well. We didn't have as many people as we thought we were going to have, just because, you know, things come up, life comes up. But you guys know, if you watch my videos, I usually make cupcakes and my kid's cake. So I did make her smash cake. Let's go back to the card real quick. So here for this white tag, this is going to be the background for my scene. So I am going to do just some pretty traditional ink blending on this. And I used all the blues. So I think I used Summer Sky, Deep Ocean, Nautical, and Pitch Black. And the bottom of it I'm not really concerned about because it's going to be covered up by my snow mound. But the top of it I needed to add some color to. And then I'll also be adding some snow with some white acrylic paint. So her party was unicorn themed, as you guys know if you've been following my videos. And so it was really cute. Like, we were able to get her things done. Eric told me, he was like, did you just Google unicorn and then just start buying everything? I did not, even though he thinks I did. She did have the traditional like balloons and a little happy birthday banner, because we usually put the kids' presents like for their birthdays on the fireplace. That's usually where I do my decorating. So like the banner hangs from the mantle, and then I put balloons and some other, fluffy things, or like those paper lanterns, things like that. But so I made her cake and I was like, okay, so I have this tiered cake set that has like a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch, and then you can make like a 3-tier cake. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just do the 6. That was my game plan for her smash cake. But then looking at it with the cake decoration, like that I had ordered, the topper, it was a little bit too small. So I didn't want to just give her like the small little cake. So I thought about making 2 and then stacking them up so that she would have a thicker cake. But then I was worried about my cake batter sitting and kind of losing air and getting really dense. So I ended up doing a 4 and a 6. And when I was doing it, it looked like a little mini wedding cake. But I was able to get it done, and it actually came out really cute. So if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, you probably saw it. I shared it in the pictures. But I just did a little unicorn mane with some like pink, purple, and blue mixed, like I think they call it rainbow frosting when they're all mixed together like that, like multicolored frosting. And so I also did my cupcakes the same way, and then for the chocolate ones, I did unicorn sprinkles. And this is where that comes in, where Eric was like, did you just buy everything that said unicorn? But I couldn't, like, the chocolate frosting isn't multicolored, so I had to do something to make them unicorn-like, right? I mean, that just makes good sense. And so I always, back to the card. So now we've done the heat embossed sentiments on both the card and the tag. For this one, I'm just laying these here so I can get the placement of my Let It Snow correct. And then once I have it correct, I'm going to go ahead and treat it with my anti-static tool, stamp it. But then I realized that because of all the ink blending I didn't double check it, and it was still wet. So my embossing powder stuck all over the place. If this happens to you, fear not. Literally just wipe it off. I wipe it on my pants, but you could use a dry paper towel or a dry cloth. But you just want to wipe it off, thoroughly dry it, and then you can just stamp it again. No worries. That's exactly what I did. I left it in so you could see that even I make boo-boos and that it's okay. They're salvageable. You can come back from it. So when I make the cupcakes, I make 24 vanilla and 24 chocolate. And then I ice them. Vanilla, chocolate, and then chocolate frosting with a vanilla cupcake and vanilla frosting with a chocolate cupcake. Can you guess which one is always left over? Always. I never have any chocolate and chocolate, and I always have leftover vanilla frosting chocolate cake. So I told Eric, I said, next year I'm just making all chocolate and chocolate. Like, that's how I'm frosting all of them for the chocolate ones, because nobody ever eats these, and then I end up with all the leftovers. And I don't even really like vanilla frosting, y'all. I don't even really like it. But it also kind of messes up my aesthetic. Like, if I do them all chocolate and chocolate, then I don't have as many cupcakes that have the rainbow colored frosting. But I'm pretty sure next year we're going to end up with a Moana party anyway, so I'll have to be doing something else. So here is where that snow comes in. I'm just using acrylic paint. I think I bought this for maybe 50 cents at my local Walmart. And then I watered it down just a little bit, and I have a stiff bristled brush, and I'm going to tap that on, just like drag it along the side of an acrylic block for it to spatter on my snow. I'm going to set that aside to dry. While that's drying, I'm going to put together the rest of my cards. So this card that matches the tag, I just shaped them so that they would be one complete circle. They would kind of meet each other with the sentiment in the middle. And then the extra little stars, I'm just going to do kind of like down from the left and up to the right to just kind of fill in parts of that circle so that the scent, because right now with just the sentiment, it looks a little empty. You could also, if you didn't want to take the time to cut extra stars, like if you're like me and you're like, I don't really like the finicky little pieces, you could do it with gems for sure. Gems or sequins, like the little gem stickers, that would work great. But I did it with the stars because I had already cut them out, honestly. So once I had those in place, then I'm going to set that aside. That's pretty much that whole card. And then I'm going to work on the tag that matches. I will probably end up using this for, one of my sisters or something this Christmas. And then the tag is basically the same idea. I just used one of the... Are we calling this a shooting star? I'm not sure. One of the larger stars, swoopy stars. And then I kept just 3 little accent stars to fill that in. And my intention is to use some gold twine. And I actually used that gold twine for both of my... Can you see how I struggled here with this? And that's why I don't like the finicky pieces, people. That's why. But I used the gold twine for both of my tags since they were of similar colors. So here's our card and tag set, all done and completed. And then this one is the interactive one. And honestly, it's kind of my favorite. So here I have some Eclipse masking tape. Normally I use this to mask my scenes with, but this time I'm going to use it to make sure that my tag can be taken off by the recipient and used on a gift so that they can just keep giving it. So I put it on the back of my cardstock panel. That open area of the circle is sticky. And then I'm going to glue it down to my card base. So it's basically sandwiching that sticky portion, that masking portion, in between the card base and the card front. And then I will be able to fit my tag in there. And I'll be able to, just put like a note in the card, like, please feel free to pull off the tag and use it to, keep spreading some handmade love. So here, just building it, starting from the bottom up, putting my snow down. I knew that I was going to have to work pretty quickly because I needed to get that down. And I didn't think about it at the time. I shouldn't have pushed it all the way down. I should have just laid it there gently. It ended up working out. I just kind of picked up the little bit of the snowy hill to tuck my tree behind because I didn't want the trunk to be visible. So I just tucked that back in there and then glued my snowman down, just down into the left of the tree because I knew I was going to put all the greenery and stuff that we colored, like the flowers and the greenery, down into the left of the tag. So yeah, so her party was really good, but I have all these cupcakes left over that I don't even like because I'm a chocolate person. And usually, honestly, before people even get to the party, I take like 2 of the chocolate ones and like hide them in the corner of my countertop. So that way I know that I will at least, after everybody is gone, have 2 of the cupcakes that I actually like. It seems like either you're vanilla and vanilla or you're chocolate and chocolate. Very few people are the mix. But I guess vanilla cake with chocolate frosting is more popular, which I find very strange. But anyway, so that's what I've got going on there. I thought she was going to like dive right into her cake and be a crazy sloppy mess, but she was not at all. She stuck her hand in it and then she proceeded to lick the frosting off of her fingers. She never actually got any cake. Like with grabbing it, she didn't grab the cake. She just stuck her fingers in the frosting and then would lick her fingers of the frosting. It was really very cute. So after it was done, my mom did, like, she's like, hey, can I cut the cake and, feed her cake? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So she did end up eating cake when her Nana fed it to her. But as far as the cake smash process, she was not interested in smashing said cake. She didn't. Just ate a little bit of the frosting, and that was pretty much it. But she did discover a bunch of other things she really liked to eat. I was eating a piece of veggie ranch pizza, and she kept trying to put her mouth on my pizza. So I was like, well, I'll just move the raw veggies out of the way, because obviously, like, raw broccoli she can't eat yet. And so I just moved it out of the way and I let her take a bite, and she ate pretty much a whole piece. So here, I didn't really love that I couldn't see the holly, that it was kind of blending back in with my pine branches. So I did go in with just a green Copic marker and just color right over them to get a little bit of separation between the holly and the pine. I think it was a good decision. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have made them a little bit darker from the get-go. Here, this is the back of the tag. In that set that comes with the kit, there is a to and a from. So I've stamped that down on the back, and I'm just lining these up. So whoever I give this card to can pull this tag off. It's a usable tag. They can, write in there who it's, to and who it's from, and it's a usable gift. So this is my gold twine. I'm just tying that on, and then I will put it onto my card before I cut it. So that way I know how long to leave those little pieces. But here I was like excited just to put it on there and didn't realize I needed to pay attention to that. I don't know, it was actually straight. So now it's stuck in, the little die cut. It fits right in there, and I can just peel it back off and stick it back down. And I didn't have any issues, and I removed it multiple times to make sure. I trimmed the twine off for both of my tags, and then I used our cork colored hero pearls to add the center of the flowers, some ornaments on my tree, just to give it a little bit of extra dimension and a little added interest. And then what did I do? That's it. That's both cards. I was going to say, what else did I do? But I didn't do anything. So that's it. I hope you head over to the blog and hop along with us, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.